my name is Joseph, and in this video I'm going to explain to you how to use your folders and how you're going to be graded in this class. First of all, you've all got folders, and at the top of your folder is a name tag. Now on your name tag, if you are someone who has a name that teachers or other people sometimes mess up, what I'd like you to do is in pencil write on that name tag how I can say your name correctly. For example, I have messed up a student by the name of Jaime. I've messed his name up many times by calling him Jamie. So if you have a name like Jaime and some people want to call you Jamie, go ahead and write it out for me. How would you pronounce it? Jaime. Jaime. Right? That's how you pronounce it. That's not how you spell it. That's the wrong way to spell it. And spelling is important. So I don't want you to cross out your name or write over it. Just write to the side one way I can pronounce it so that way I know. Again, you can correct me in class if I say your name wrong. You always should if anybody does. But go ahead and write it out for me. Okay, so go ahead and open up your folders, and in your folder, I want you to look at the left side. Now, if you haven't already filled in the Google login and password sticker, go ahead and do that right now, unless you don't know it, in which case there'll be a way to let me know by the end of class if you're someone who doesn't know your Chromebook login. But in your folder, and you can put in the left side or the right side, I don't care where you put your work, but this is where you put your work. All the paperwork, everything that's not done online, of course, is going to go in your folder, and it stays in your folder. I will never take it out of your folder, take it home, take it to do something with it until it's time to actually grade everything and turn it into your teacher. So if you go into your folder and your work isn't there, you lost it or you've already earned the credit. That's it, because I don't take pieces out and keep them someplace else. Everything I take out goes right back in or stays in. That is my filing system, which is why you want to be very careful about taking it home. Because if you take your work home and it stays home, I can't give a unit to your teacher. You can't get credit for this class. Your unit's supposed to come in every month, but it might come in late if your work has been left at home. So if you take it home and lose it, you're gonna have to redo it because I need that work. Even the pieces that aren't graded, I still need them. So now, how do you know what your grade is and if you're passing the assignments that you've been turning in? Well, you can definitely find it online. Your grades will be posted online. But another way you can know what your grade is to look at this tracker. As you complete each assignment, the first of which you have 001 or possibly 011 if you're in my Bio B class is already in your hands. I will be passing out each of these assignments as we go through this semester. The unit headers up here tell you which assignments need to be completed to earn that unit. So there's these 3 assignments for this unit. There's these 2 assignments for this unit, so on and so forth. So that's how you know what assignments you've completed, which ones you haven't. If it's empty, that means I never graded it or I never got it. So if you just turned it in this morning or last night or today, it might be blank because I just haven't had time to look at it just yet. But if you come back after a class or two and it's still blank and you know you turned it in, go ahead and ask. Now when you have turned it in and I have had a chance to grade it, you're going to get a sticker. A red means a score of 1, yellow means a score of 2, green means a score of 3, and the best score you can get is a 4, which is a blue sticker. Anytime you see a sticker of a color 2, 3, or 4, you have passed that assignment and do not have to revise it. Do not have to revisit it ever again, unless you want to. If you get a score you don't like, you can read the feedback I've left you, the comments I've left you on your assignment, and return it again. Even if I've already given your teacher the credit, you can still fix an assignment. Ask me for your notes back if I've already taken them out of your folder. Ask me what my comments meant, or come to office hours and I'll help you there myself. There's always a chance for you to improve your grade by returning things again, except for when we go to summer break, because then I got to get your final grade. So at the end of the semester, then it's too late. But until then, you can always return in old assignments to get better grades. Now, one last thing you have to understand about grades is that none of them can be a red. Not one single one of these can get a red. One red means no credit, no matter what your other grades are. There's no getting 2 A's and a 1 and figuring, oh, I'll get an average of 2 or 3. That's good enough. Your final grade will be an average of all your scores, but none of them can be red. And you need to fix that to get the unit. So let's look at what that looks like. Let's say in your first assignment, you get a blue, a 4, great job. Second assignment, you get a green, not as good as the 4. You can work on that later if you want to bring it up, but that's a good B+. Not bad, awesome, doing really great on Unit 1 here. But then you get a red on 003. No matter how good these scores are, this red means you do not get Unit 1 until this red is turned into a yellow, green, or blue. You will have to go home, read my comments, fix your assignment, or come to office hours, extra time, Fridays, Tuesday afternoons, and get help from me if you can't fix it on your own. But it needs to be fixed. One red dot means this whole unit will not get earned. But as soon as all the dots in a unit, all the dots in a unit are yellows or better, you will get the credit. I will hand it to your teacher. So what is a unit? Just to be clear, a unit is a credit is like turning in a packet, right? Every packet you turn in to your teacher, your AR teacher, when you pass the test and finish the essay and do whatever projects are inside the packet, that's worth 1 unit, 1 credit. Well, same thing in my class. When you finish all of the assignments in a unit, then that's the same thing as going to your teacher, turning in a packet you did from home, passing the test, passing all the stuff, and getting 1 credit for the month, 1 unit for the month. I will be giving units to your teacher that your teacher will count for the month that your teacher receives it in. So this class isn't just this extra time sink on top of all the work that you have to do at home. This helps you get work to your teacher. For example, if you have 4 SGI classes, like say my class, 2 English classes, and a math class, if you're keeping up and passing all your assignments every month, you'll get 4 units and not be truant just from SGI classes before you've even touched your packets at home. How awesome is that? But you got to keep up with your assignments, and they can never be a red. They can never be a 1. All right, so I've been talking about these scores of 1, 2, 3, and 4. So let's take a closer look at what those mean. So every assignment, 001, 002, so on and so forth, has a set of learning targets and guiding questions. Sometimes there's just 1, sometimes there's more, same thing with guiding questions. The learning target is what you're trying to prove that you've learned from that assignment. That is where your grades are going to come from, is these learning targets. How well did you master that learning target? The guiding questions are questions to help you get there. If you're answering the better you're answering these questions, the better you're going to be able to prove that you're mastering the learning target. So let's take a look at exactly what that kind of means. There are 4 areas that I'll be grading you in. And that's not the same as your scores. You get scores of 1, 2, 3, or 4, but there's 4 content areas that I'm going to be grading you on. One is topic and content. Does your argument, does your PowerPoint, does your project, whatever you're making, does it have a knowledgeable and thoughtful response to the learning targets and guiding questions? Number 2 is use of evidence and analysis. Your argument needs to be supported by information from the provided class resources and class activities. So that means if you are completely ignoring in your arguments anything we did in class, you're going to get a 0 or 1. Okay, you need to be using evidence from class. This does not mean you can't use stuff from outside the class, but this is an important part of your grade. And just saying what we did is not enough. That's right. There's that part called the analysis. You need to explain how the evidence, the activities you did in class, supports your answer to the guiding questions. That's what number 2 is. A lot of people get really low scores or have to revise their assignment, even if maybe they did good up here, because they just didn't show any evidence or analysis. They have no reason, I have no reason to believe that they understand anything. Because if you can't use what we saw in class, then that means you don't understand what we saw in class, which means I don't care what you typed, there's no way you got the learning target if you don't understand anything that you saw or read or did in class. Coherence and organization, this is one of the easier scores to get. How clear is your writing? How easy is it for me to understand what you're trying to say? This isn't about right answers and wrong answers. This is just, can I understand what you're trying to say? Does it make sense? Now, the 4th content area is required scientific vocabulary. And the way I've set it up is there's 3 columns. There's the score 2 words, the score 3 words, and the score 4 words. If you only use the words here, but you use all of them and you use them appropriately, then on this section, you'll get a 2. If you use all of the score 3 words, which includes all the score 2 words, then you'll get a 3 on this portion of your grade. And finally, if you use all of these words over here, which includes all the score 3 words, 2 words, all of these words, plus some new ones, if you use all of these, then you can get a 4 on this section. And you'll get 50 experience points towards the game. In fact, everything that you do in the Exceeding Mastery column adds 50 experience points. To get a score of 4 on any assignment, you have to get at least a 3, so you have to be good enough to hit 3 all the way through here in all 4 categories, and do at least 3 check boxes. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 check boxes under the 4 section. You need to do at least 3. If you do at least 3 of those, then you can get a 4 on your assignment. Or let's say you got a 2, but you did at least 3 of these check boxes, these score 4 check boxes, then that'll bump you up from a 2 to a 3. However, if any one of these content areas, any of the 4 areas, has a red, a 0 or a 1, a redo, that section needs to be better. You can't make up a 0 or a 1 with Exceeding Mastery. So the next thing I want to show you is a picture of the calendar that you'll see on my wall by the front door. This is where you can see the entire month broken up by week 1, 2, 3, and 4. It shows you what days school is closed, the whole school. It tells you what assignments we're starting or finishing that needs to be completed. It tells you when office hours are. So my office hours might be different from a previous class if you've had me before. This semester, my office hours are Tuesdays and Thursdays from 3 to 4 and Fridays 8 to 12 unless it says none, because that might mean a day that I'm just not here. Mondays and Wednesdays, I do not have office hours unless you have a plant buddy that allows you to break the rule. And one of the last things I want to talk about is the academic honesty policy. And that has to do with plagiarism. Plagiarism may be one of the following: verbatim copying without proper documentation of the sources, paraphrasing without proper documentation of the sources, or presenting the work of another as one's own for a grade or points. This is mostly 3 different ways of saying the same thing, which is if you just copy stuff from the internet or from someone else and don't give me a source for it, you are plagiarizing your work, and there are potential consequences for that. The most tempting way to do this is to just Google up some of the guiding questions and see what kind of stuff is out there. But here's the thing. The way I word things in class, the way I word things in my assignments is a lot easier to read and understand than a lot of the stuff you're going to find online. And a lot of the stuff you're going to find online is going to go into way more detail than I will in class. So that's my biggest clue. If you're talking about things that were not brought up in class, that were not introduced in class, that weren't in the reading I gave out in class, then I need to see a source for it, or I'm going to consider it plagiarism. Simple as that. Now, you can find stuff online and include it into your essay, include it into a project or PowerPoint to help make that essay better, and go for Exceeding Mastery. But the difference between Exceeding Mastery and plagiarism is, did you cite your sources? Any source that's not properly cited will not count. And it could incur, depending on my judgment, some consequences. For example, you might first get a written or oral notification to you and possibly to your parent, and definitely to your AR teacher, that you were plagiarizing. You were just straight up copying stuff from online somewhere or from another student. You will definitely have to fix that, because if you look down here at the bottom, any information not learned from class activities must be cited or it'll be crossed out and ignored, which means could result in your assignments not being complete, because there'll be some part you didn't do with the part that I crossed out. The assignment may need to be redone. If it was straight copy, the whole thing, I'm just going to delete the whole thing and you could start from scratch. If it continues to be a problem, it rarely does in my experience, but if it continues to be a problem, then we're going to have to set up a parent conference with the assistant principal. And that's it. If you have any questions about anything I said in this video, let me know, and I'll see you in class.
Life too unpredictable, take control of what you love.